Greetings guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette and this is my channel Evolve with Monette. So good to share some energy with you today. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath and I wanted to get right into the subject. So if you saw the title of the video, that's why you're here. Today I want to talk about waking up in Paris. Waking up in Paris. So this happened for me in the realest of ways. And it was a catalyst for my life to change in ways that I could have not really ever predicted. I woke up in Paris, and the wake up in Paris happened in great deal because of Sonia Choquette. This is Sonia Choquette. She's a professional psychic and intuitive, and she's been teaching workshops for years and years on how to get grounded with your psychic energy and how to utilize it. And I love this book. But I didn't know how integral it would be to my journey and my life. On the front, she says, Overcoming Darkness in the City of Light. And this book, spoiler alert, is about her journey to Paris and recovering emotionally from a divorce. And the reason that I've named this title Waking Up in Paris is because God humbled me and had me really walk in Sonia's shoes. I will have full disclosure here. I've learned a lot from Sonia. Specifically, one of the things I remember her teaching me through her work, of course, not personally, but through her work, was about attraction to soulmates or twin flames, especially if it's supposed to be platonic or not. And it helped me to understand my karmic attraction to the soulmate that I had, my attraction to the karmic soulmate that I had, excuse me, and acting on that and why we get brought that in. So she talks about that, and I have a video here where I kind of expand on that. But that's how I got introduced to her. Now, a lot of her other work, I'm going to be very honest with you, I did not connect with. I almost felt like it was like the ABCs of psychic work, and I can sometimes be snobby because I had felt like, well, I've gotten past that part, or I figured this out. So I didn't find great value in it. But what I realized is, and I was quite humbled many years ago when my angel showed me, she is doing exactly her work to get people in, and then we ascend them and we ascend them, and she's also doing her ascension work too. So don't you stand in judgment of her. And I thought, this is so weird. I'm just reading a book. Why are you guys being mean? Like, sometimes our angels will chastise us, like, and really get in our butt. Let me tell you why they were being so mean. And they wanted me to be able to relate with her, and they humbled me. They humbled me so. The thing that I found interesting about Sonia, I stopped watching her for many years because I thought, it's just not enough meatiness there for me, right? And then I bounced into her many years later on a YouTube video. And it was weird because she went from being in these big halls and having thousands of people around her, very much like the petite, very petite Tony Robbins version of spirituality. Like, she could put on a show like that. She was very renowned for physical interaction during her workshops. So jump up and down and like engaging all of your chakras and your energy. So she went from that to these like rinky-dink, I thought, YouTube videos. Ha 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 ha. Oh, our angels have a sense of humor. Yes! I want to thank the 7 of you here that are watching. I love you guys. I get it. You see how they humble us, y'all? But this was my thought process. I'm never going to lie. I was like, oh, what? It's too bad. Now she's got 200 people in the live chat, and she's Sonia Choquette of the Sonia Choquette fame, as famous as Sylvia Brown and other things, but not as dark. Like, Sylvia Brown kind of did a lot more shadow Akashic record work. Anyway, Sylvia Brown from Montel Williams, for those of you that know, you know. So I stumbled upon her and she was talking. And one of the things that I had complained about to the friend that turned me on to her is that her voice was like almost too high for me. It was almost too ethereal, almost too high pitched. And I couldn't listen to her talk at length in her workshops in her Hay House. She did a lot of work with Hay House and stuff like that. And I just didn't find it enthralling. But when I caught this video several years later on her rinky dink YouTube, there was a bass in her voice. There was something that was different. And because her voice was different, I'll be honest, it is literally why I paid attention. As a Gemini rising, I care about accents and inflections and intonations, and I pay attention to all the quirky speech patterns, and my own included, that we have. So there was something about her voice that caught me. And I remember turning my ear and then listening, and she was talking about being in Paris and meeting up with Lulu Mace, I think it is, who was really big in the Law of Attraction Secret earlier work. She kind of piggybacked off of some of the initial work and made her own lane, but I think she's like Canadian, French Canadian, yeah. And so I remember she was teaming up, and I also was not Lilu is her name, Lilu, excuse me. Lilu is a Leo, and but I also remember her being like, her energy being a lot, and I thought, oh my god, these two are teaming up, like, how is this gonna work? Oh, these are my confessions, y'all. But I thought that, and I was like, how's this gonna work? Well, it turns out that Lilu was a spiritual earth angel and a bit of a healer for her in this moment. But in the video, what she's talking about is healing from her divorce, and doing this like a sojourn, walking trek through Europe, and all of the hardships and things she's learned. If you've read that book Wild, I think it was on the Oprah Book Club, about this hiker who kind of goes across. It was not as you know, as involved as that, but she did this thing to challenge herself. It was I'm going to see if I can link it below, but it was some kind of like Mecca, something that's done in Europe, and you walk from some place to some place. It was a lot, and she did this, and she talks about her insights and her clearing and cleaning of her energy. What it reminded me of was Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, right? It reminded me of like the hero's journey. That's what she was on. And that's why years later, when I stumbled upon her, I was instantly attached to her words and attracted and pulled in, because there was something there. And I remember talking to a spiritual friend of mine and saying, I just respect her more now. I don't know why. Something shifted. The destruction, the utter destruction and chaos of her divorce after 20 plus years and a whole full family shifted for her, and she started dealing with family pathology and the way that her father had treated her mother and the way that they denied her gifts because she came from multi-generations of psychics. And it was a powerful story, and I remember listening to it and thinking, oh, that's nice. I suppose I'll pick up her book. So I did, and then I started reading it, and I did, and I thought nothing of it until several years later. Several years later, I manifested a trip to Paris. It was a bucket list thing, one of the first places on my bucket list, and it all came together, and I went with a friend and her daughter, and we had a beautiful time. But I almost didn't go, because for those of you that are on the Divine Feminine Masculine journey, my DM, who was a bestie and it shows up in a woman's body, was supposed to be my travel mate and partner. And I decided to try to always make it happen, and she'd always find ways to sabotage it. And I don't want to make this too heavy, but I was realizing that I kept putting off travel because she didn't want to do it. And even though I had this idealistic notion that we would do it together, I felt Paris calling me. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I went, and I sent her videos when I was miserable, you know. I was in Paris in the summer, and I remember one time we had passes for like the hop on, hop off bus, but my very, very live and very young, my friend's daughter was like, we're gonna just walk from the Eiffel Tower down to the scene, which is just a couple of miles, but y'all, look at me, it's a lot. And I was like huffing and puffing my way down to the scene, and I remember like not FaceTiming her, but like calling her and just being like, this is you know, because some part of me couldn't celebrate that I was in Paris, which I was having a delightful time, but in those little moments when I was feeling like, oh Lord Jesus, come get me. And so I shared with her maybe not all the better parts, because I didn't want her to feel sad or jealous or left out. It broke my heart not to travel with her. But I realized something that Sonia realized in her marriage, that something wasn't fulfilling. And that's about the time that I started to wake up. When I woke up in Paris, I was waking up to the reality that in order to live the life that I wanted to, I was going to have to leave some things behind. It had nothing to do with the people I traveled with, and it had nothing to do with the experience in Paris itself, though it was beautiful. It had everything to do with the person whom my heart was connected to. The reason that I would send a text that said, oh, right now it's not ideally perfect, because I knew that in her heart it was a trigger. But that trigger was pulled, and it literally unraveled a relationship just from that trip. Words were never compacted around it like ice packs on a swollen limb. We never addressed it, but I remember her saying to me, a text I probably still have somewhere, I can't believe you went without me. And I thought, I can't believe you would want me to never go, because you never intended to come. Just got heavy, huh? And so that was something that I had to really reconcile. And in lieu of COVID and not being able to travel, and Lord knows I have tried, I have ridiculous vouchers, but in lieu of that and not being able to travel now, and America being grounded, and I am in America, I am an American, I regret nothing. I never regretted it. But what I realized is that sometimes when a relationship falls apart, it allows you to live. And I'm going to tie this back into Sonia Choquette, but what if I wouldn't have gone and woke up in Paris? Me going to Paris was destined and in my Akashic records. I was supposed to have that experience so that I could parallel back. See, my angels were doing a thing. That's what I want you guys to understand about spirituality. Sometimes it's a quick dialogue. Sometimes it's a monologue where they're doing a lot of the talking. Sometimes it's a monologue where you're doing a lot of the talking. But there's always synergy happening. This moment for me happened. That counterpart was like a spiritual partner, and was a soulmate, and we got divorced, okay? We got divorced, and it was ugly. And it was all the things that any divorce in the 3D, which means when you're physically actually married to somebody, could be. All of the things, all of the growing apart, all of the uncomfortable conversations, all of the one partner feeling away and not communicating it to the other partner. And I did a lot of my finger pointing, just like Sonia does in this book as she's dealing with the unraveling of her marriage. And then what happens is the thing she modeled for me. When I read this nonchalantly, not realizing how deeply it would affect my life, I started to point the fingers back at me. I started to ask, when I woke up in Paris, how long had I not been happy in my friendship? How long had I not been happy in my relationship? How long had I not felt like I could have wonderful, positive things happen for me? Sonia talks about her husband becoming jealous of her and other things happening in the power shift and dynamic, the entitlement, the expectation, because she had created a really good career, a really lucrative career. I started to feel those things, and I started to feel weary. And when I was looking at my partner thinking, you're emotionally cheating, you're actually cheating, and having my meltdowns, I realized that I had checked out in my own way. And I knew that I had checked out because I woke up in Paris. When I woke up in Paris, it was an emotional epiphany about wanting to live my dreams unencumbered from a partner who was doing everything in their power to stop it. And I didn't realize, much like Sonia here, that my divorce would be the thing that made me a relatable person, that grounded me. Having an ego death and being shattered at an ideal you held that was completely illusory, or maybe having a real connection with somebody and then it growing into this facade where both of you are playing your parts, as Sonia talked about in the book. You see, when I woke up in Paris, I felt very much like Sonia. I found myself staring into the mirror and staring into my relationship. It's like cold water on my face. I knew before Paris that I wanted out if it was going to stay the way it was, and she refused to work with me. And I thought, God, you couldn't have had it easier. You literally have like a therapist and a professional reader. Like, I mean, I'm as patient can be, liberal as liberal can be, understanding as understanding can be. And I thought, if I can't work with this person, then we're not supposed to work. But did that mean that I stopped living my dream? Sonia's grounding got me to realize that a painful thing can be a catalyst to a powerful regeneration. Look at this woman, radiant again, but it took her a while. It took her a long walk, a long journey, and a lot of reconciling with what her life had become, who her partner was not, and who she no longer felt empowered to be with her partner. She since moved to Paris, though I will tell you, it is easily to be tempted when you're there. I loved it there. I love the freedom there. I love the energy. I love the food. It was an amazing experience. And what I will say is, while I was there, I thought about that. I thought, I need a little place, a little petitier, is that what it's called? A little place just for myself. Yeah, I would come over here for months at a time, and I could lose myself in this city. But as you can see, I'm just off in the dreamland of it. But what I will say is that Sonia is a great teacher for me, not was. She literally came into my life and she got me to look right at myself, my snobbiness, my judgmentalness, and my angel said, you judged her for feeling like what she's doing was too easy, but truly, she's greatly gifted, and she had her own evolution. You just got on board before you saw the next level, right? So then when I got to the next level, they said, and now we're going to put you in your own sunken place so that you'll never judge somebody else's journey again. I had no idea how parallel our journeys would be. Sonia helped me to wake up to myself, and she helped me to wake up to my reality, but she also helped me to wake up to opportunity and possibility. It wasn't all sad. The divorce hurt. The releasing of a partner that I adored who did not adore me or value me at all, oh my God, it shattered me. But that's the feedback I got. I got a letter today from somebody, Paula, and she said, you're saving lives. And I thought, I'm saving lives? And that's something I felt about Sonia. When I read her story, I thought, how many women don't know that it's okay to feel this and to not be satisfied and to want something more? Together, all of us, you watching, Sonia writing, me talking, you commenting, we're saving lives. I wish for all of you your moment to wake up in Paris, to get grounded in your reality, but also maybe jump down off your high horse. Grandmothers will say, if you think you know everything, keep living. And I certainly came in pompous, and my God, did the universe humble me. I get it. A 20-something year, well, for me a 20-year, for her 20-plus year marriage, partnership dissolves, and it feels inexplicable, and your person turns into a monster, and you're like, what was I thinking? How am I psychic and I miss this? I mean, they made me really do my work. They're like, tomato. This is your life. She was teaching you and getting you ready. She was an earth angel that was sent in this very creative way, because our angels are creative, to get me primed and ready to go through what I went through. And I was able to ride the wave. And then when I got home from Paris and I saw this book on my coffee table, I thought, oh my God, how did I not know? You see, I didn't understand how life would be in the last couple of years. But I remember coming back and seeing this book and thinking, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And it was all coded there for me. I woke up in Paris. For all intents and purpose, our relationship stopped the second I boarded that plane. It was not what I wanted to happen, but it is what happened. And I actually think that both of our lives are better for it. we. Come back and join me next time, and we will continue to evolve together.